Our previous video about Philly was an ode to its genuine historic parts,
It was an ode.
where I deliberately avoided showing you the ugly growth, which can be difficult because it's everywhere. You're admiring something, some structure, thinking of all the stories associated with it, and then you turn and there it is. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the continuing, relentless effort to ruin this most historic of all American cities. They started back in the 1960s and they haven't let up since. I have a soft spot for Philly. It's our most historic place, a former capital, and above all, its spirit, which still surfaces here and there, is cozy and charming. Cozy and charming, that's Philadelphia. The idiots are doing their best to destroy that spirit, and they're succeeding. So you arrive by train, as you should. You get off at 30th Street Station. It's classical revival, supposedly, but it does have this unpleasant, brutalist note. Well, whatever, it's just a train station. You get out in the street and cross over the Schuylkill River. That's the entrance to the historic part. You expect to see 18th and 19th century buildings, cozy pubs, little mom-and-pop shops, vibrant street life. Instead, you see this. You continue on, hoping that this march of faceless slabs will end at some point, and the real original city will begin to reveal itself. This is Market Street. William Penn took part in planning this city. He envisioned Broad Street and Market Street, formerly High Street, to be the two axes around which everything else would cluster, with Market running from river to river. Then in the 1960s, hotshot developers set their sights on Market. It was popular, it was vibrant, it had shops and cafes, it was upscale in spots. So they advertised it to potential clients, big corporations and smaller firms, as an area of prestige. Corporations and smaller firms bought it line, hook, and sinker. And so the destruction of the very vibe that made the area prestigious in the first place commenced. The idea in such cases is demolish everything and build as many glass boxes as you can before the moneybags morons realize that all the prestige is suddenly gone. No cafes, no street life. The place empties after 5 p.m., becomes deserted. Who cares? So long as we manage to turn a profit before it happens, we're gonna be fine. We're winners, yay. So you continue walking all the way to City Hall without seeing any historic buildings or anything you could honestly call architecture. No cafes with sidewalk tables, or if you see a cafe, you figure, why sit here looking at all these depressing whatever they are? So you finally reach City Hall, an architectural masterpiece, a miracle of masonry. I mean, the tallest load-bearing masonry building in the world to this day. Here's where you could enjoy that cup of coffee sitting at that sidewalk table, except there are no sidewalk tables. When it was built, City Hall was meant to be a public gathering place. Instead, the buildings around it are human repellent. These wide, windswept voids of Penn Center nearby, they were designed to be modern. Here's that stupid word again, modern. How much time needs to pass before something called modern ceases being modern? A century, 2 centuries, This is 2 Penn Center. It stands where the Broad Street Station used to be. A Gothic variation of terracotta and iron. Now it's a glass wall. The historic center of Philadelphia is on a small side. Cozy and charming, remember? Barely 2 miles across. That's a lot smaller than Manhattan, much smaller than center Paris. It's all highly connected, highly focused. Well, it was. It should have been preserved, cherished, defended. Look, there are all those great swaths of undeveloped land all around, the outskirts and beyond. Enough room for everybody to experiment. City Hall was meant to be the tallest and largely the only truly tall building in the city. And it tied everything together beautifully. Was it absolutely necessary to stud the very heart of America's most historic city with these eyesores? They definitely look out of place here. There was no room for them here. They are not cozy and charming. They're hostile to the city spirit and to us humans in general. They are an invasion of bad taste on a grand scale. They're, well, tacky. Take a breath. There's still some good architectural relics, vestiges around City Hall. Not immediately beside it, but nearby. Yeah, this is cool. This is pretty good. Whoa, what the hell is that? Oh, never mind. Let's continue down Market towards the Delaware. There are several types of pseudo buildings, and all of them are present here on Market today. They replaced history here. There's the radiators, beehives, file cabinets, soap dispensers, milk crates, and above all, my favorite type, stacks of motorcycle cylinder blocks. How quaint. Ooh, what is that? Oh, it's the Graff House. You know, the one in which Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Did they actually spare it? Well, not exactly. A certain bank tore it down more than 100 years ago to build its headquarters here. Then the headquarters building was torn down too and was replaced by a makeshift diner. Finally, they tore down the diner and restored Jefferson's house, mostly from old photographs. It got lucky. It survived long enough to be photographed for the bicentennial celebration. But let's continue down Market. What is this? Independence Hall. This is where it all happened. This is where America was born. Jefferson walked the 4 blocks, didn't want to wait for an Uber, and presented the first draft of the Declaration. This is the place. Inalienable rights, y'all. Look at what it's surrounded by. Let me ask you this. Do those developers and the folks who signed the permits, do they hate this country or something? I mean, someone comes into your office with a bunch of blueprints and goes, "This is what I'd like to build, and this is where I want to build it." And you tell them, "Let me see what I can do." For some kind of fee, of course, but still. And then you negotiate, you gather signatures. All these are acts that are not impersonal. You'll be signing actual documents with an actual physical pen, and that's personal, all right. I am going to build this to serve as a background for Independence Hall. I am going to let you build this across the street from Independence Hall. Aren't you even a little bit uncomfortable? Aren't you afraid that maybe your grandson or granddaughter might say, very much in passing, "Grandpa ruined Philadelphia," or "Grandpa shat all over American history"? Doesn't that possibility bother you at all? I don't know. It's a mystery, is what it is. Now, I realize that the president's house was gutted, added to, rebuilt, and finally turned down to be replaced by a different building, which was then torn down and replaced by a public toilet, which was then replaced by this frame. It's a memorial designed by a committee that was terrified of making a statement, any statement. And then there's the Liberty Bell now sitting in a glass soap dispenser right next to the excavated ruins of a house we were too ashamed to rebuild. And with that super attractive, ultra-human building in the background. Let's continue down Market. A few minutes later, we'll get a breather. What remains of the historic area here? I covered it in the previous video, Franklin Court, Christchurch, as beautiful as ever in any season. Then we walk up to this sign, Penn's Landing. The actual landing took place some miles south of here. The rights to display such signs were purchased by the city of Philadelphia, possibly with an eye to making it a tourist attraction or something. Now, that's a pretty good idea. Think about it. William Penn landing here, exchanging greetings with the locals, and founding the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. The intriguing part here is that all of the above is actually true, except for the actual landing location. So if you've never been here, you continue on anticipating, envisioning a gorgeous waterfront on the Delaware, cafes, bars, boutiques, the promenade, like in London. No, better yet, like in Paris. A Parisian-like quay with lots of foot traffic, nightlife, and so forth. It's the Delaware. It's a majestic river indeed, and quite historic to boot. And here's what you discover. The city is effectively cut off from its river by the interstate highway. That would be I-95, 10 lanes, effectively burying the waterfront. We traded the quay for a corridor. You want a restaurant with a view? Tough luck. You can't have a Parisian-style quay if you have I-95 acting as a barrier between you and the waterfront. Apparently, cars are more important than people and history. To get to the water, a human being has to cross Columbus Boulevard and then navigate a concrete overpass. Calling Columbus Boulevard a boulevard is architectural gaslighting. It's a 6-lane highway with traffic lights. There are no shops lining the street, no cafes spilling onto the sidewalk, just blank walls and the occasional water tower. Did William Penn envision this? Is this architecture? Is this urban planning? You know, Philadelphia is a city of national importance, to put it mildly. So maybe instead of sinking billions into trying to get to Mars, there are no cafes there, I assure you. And for all we know, no decent architecture either. Trying to improve a quasi-speed rail line that no one can afford to ride, or offering tax breaks to electric car manufacturers instead of building streetcar lines. Maybe, just maybe, it would be better to start restoring Philly, getting back its cozy and charming spirit. They'll spend $50 million on a bridge built as a work of art that looks like, I don't know what it looks like, look at the shit, just to help you cross I-95. How about you just cap the highway and give us back the street? We don't need art to cross a road. We need a city that isn't severed in half. Just saying. Thank you for watching. I'm Ricky Vernio coming to you from Brooklyn, New York, and I'll see you soon.